Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters. My name is Ray Melendez. I will serve you today as Sergeant at Arms. We all should have received a message, at least those of us online on the meeting, acknowledging that this meeting is being recorded. Now, a couple of things I just want to mention to everybody on here is, first of all, is obviously, as others are speaking, let's keep ourselves muted. The other thing I want to make sure is just for us present that are here, are we going to try to log into the Zoom for our voting?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so let's all go about and make sure on our phones, not only for the voting, but as well to get feedback to anybody presenting online. I don't think anybody presenting online, no, we got the table talks today, so
you can get feedback.
but it will allow you to give feedback. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Round of applause for our president, Shastri Stewart.
Thank you, Ray. Awesome job. Awesome job. And I'll stand back here. Welcome to all our participants on the Zoom platform. I see you, Michelle. We miss you. I see that we have one guest, but before I touch bases with our guests, I'd like to recite our mission statement. And our mission statement states, it is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. Who's here to obtain self-confidence? Raise your hand.
Great.
All right, awesome. All right, before we begin our meeting, I'd like to welcome Robert. Robert, thank you for joining our club. We do have a hybrid format, which is an on-site and Zoom platform to be of convenience to everyone. So if you can just introduce yourself and tell us how you heard about Wellington Toastmasters.
How's everybody doing? My name is Robert Ortiz. I was actually raised here in Wellington, and I heard about Toastmasters. I'm obsessed with reading about John Maxwell and all of his teachings. And in many of his books, he's mentioned Toastmasters. Earl Nightingale is a big fan. Well, he was a big fan of Toastmasters, rest in peace. And just by consistently listening to them, I went on google.com and literally searched up Toastmasters, and Wellington Toastmasters came up. So I was like, you know what, let's give it a spin.
Awesome, man. And that's so funny you said that. Give it a spin.
There we go.
All right.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Meeting. You're welcome. And we'll touch bases with you after the meeting just to get some feedback on how we did and any takeaways. All right. So I'll pass the meeting over to our Toastmaster of the day, the lovely, the amazing Michelle Nembard.
Thank you all, Toastmasters and Robert, and our dignitary, Young Green. Good to see you, Mayana, Stacy, and Mark, and Sujana, Sonia, everyone is out there. I chose the topic or the theme of today, why Toastmasters, and just wanted to make it refresh in our brains or in our minds why we really joined Toastmasters. For me, being a Toastmaster helped me to be efficient in leadership and speaking, communication. I feel so much of self-confidence. So I wanted to use that as a theme for today, just to remind us why we are in this program. And I hope that it you remember why we are doing this weekly. And we are looking for your support in the club. Signing up for roles, we find that it's a struggle getting people to sign up for roles. So that is my reason for using this as Toastmaster thing. Okay. As a Toastmaster of the day, I serve as a master of ceremonies for the benefit of our guests and new members. A traditional Toastmasters have 3 sections. The first is the speeches, the second is table topics, and the third is evaluation. So I will now call on our functionary roles this evening to give a description of the roles that they are going to be presenting. Gary, Toastmaster Gary, please give us your role as our counter.
Toastmaster of the day. The purpose of the R counter is to note any word or sound used as a crutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. I think we lost the video feed, but our audio should still be there. Words may be inappropriate interjections. I will get the bell going forward so that we can start using the bell again in person. Toastmaster of the day. I'll place that camera for now.
We're switching it up. Toastmaster Michelle Gonzalez, please give us your role as grammarian.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michelin. One benefit of Toastmasters is that it helps people improve their grammar and word use. Being grammarian provides an exercise in expanding listening skills. I have several responsibilities: to introduce new words to members, to comment on the language used during the course of the meeting, and to provide examples of eloquence. The word of the day is loquacious. It is an adjective. When used in a sentence, it may take the form, never loquacious. Sarah was totally lost for words. Similar words: talkative, garrulous, voluble. I encourage each one to use the word of the day, loquacious, when speaking tonight. Toastmaster of the day, Michelin, thank you so much.
Toastmaster Michelle. I was never loquacious, but I'm trying to get there. Toastmaster Sonia Garate, please give us your role as a timer.
So actually, Toastmaster, I am now the second evaluator, and our Toastmaster Shay is serving as timer. Toastmaster Shay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sonia Harate. My job as timer is to keep us punctual and tuned with the timestamps for the meeting. I also keep the time for each speech, both the prepared speeches and evaluations, as the speech time frames will be read before those speeches, marking green, yellow, and then red. And I would clap off to wrap them up after they proceed the time.
Now that I got that straightened out, Toastmaster Mark Kessler, please give us your role as the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. If one thinks of a club meeting as a project, then think of the general evaluator as a quality control manager. I will be commenting on the overall flow of today's meeting and giving feedback. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Micheline.
Final one, Toastmaster Sonia Taladar, please give us your role as your topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline. The topic master gives members who are not assigned to a significant role, they will get a speaking opportunity for 1 to 2 minutes. Please pay attention to the timing signals and utilize as much of these 2 minutes as you can. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah, Shay.
Shay, Toastmaster Shay, please give us the invocation.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline. Today's invocation: communication leads to the discovery of hidden abilities and broadens the person's conception of how to live with people. It brings out the leadership traits and talents, thus preparing the individual to be a leader. Ralph C. Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters International, 1924.
So thank you, Shay. Am I okay to go back there? Okay. We are now officially at our first part of our meeting, and it is the section with prepared speeches based on a specific project in Pathways program. This evening, we have 3 speakers. Our first speaker is our president. None other than. I will now call on Toastmaster Stacy Kessler to give us the project for our first speaker. You're on mute, Stacy, if you're talking. Is she frozen?
And so is Mark. They are having internet issues. He's
Okay,
back.
here they are. Hi, Stacy, you're up.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Tonight, Shastri Stewart, our president, Toastmaster Shastri Stewart, will be focusing on storytelling in his project. I am requested as Shastri's evaluator to look at the following for Shastri. And my invitation to you this evening is to use the chat so that Shastri gets direct feedback to him on these 4 areas. Number 1 is going to be his storytelling abilities. Number 2 is going to be body language. And number 3 is going to be vocal variety. And number 4, Shastri has personally asked for feedback on how authentic his speech seemed as he was sharing the words. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stacy. May I have the time and signal for the 5 to 7 minute speech, please?
Yes, Toastmaster Micheline. At 5 minutes, I will present green. Are you seeing my background?
Yes.
At 6 minutes, I will present the yellow. And at 7 minutes, I will present red with 30 seconds left, in which I will clap the speaker off.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shay. The speech title, Embrace the Chaos and Break Through Your Limits. Our club president, Shastri Stewart, will be delivering a 5 to 7 speech using storytelling to connect with you. Please help me welcome the Admiral Public Speaking, that Da Vinci of descriptive language, Shastri Stewart.
The past year has been chaotic, stressful, and difficult. The storm called COVID hit, and we were no longer able to visit our family and friends. And we missed a very essential human need, connection. The side effect of COVID helped compound our misery and suffering. But I want you to know, you are way stronger than things are terrible. Good evening, Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries, and guests, Robert. I want to share a story I recently heard that really had an impact on me. There was this man seeking spiritual growth, so he'd usually go into the forest to meditate on this rock. But before he began his meditation, he saw this crippled fox with its severed legs. He thought maybe it got trapped in one of the hunter's place. But he could not understand how this fox was managing on its own. After some time, the man started meditating. He started. Went on for some time. And as the evening approached, he heard this growl from a lion. As he heard the growl from a lion, went away and he went up the tree and sat down. The lion had a piece of meat in its mouth, and it dropped the piece of meat in front of the crippled fox. The fox ate the meat, and then the lion went away. The man thought, this must be a divine message. This is a miracle. God is sending me a message. The man forgot completely about his meditation and started thinking about what the message meant. He eventually came to his own conclusion about what the message meant. And he said, I got it. God is trying to tell me in this beautiful forest, even a crippled fox can be fed by a ferocious lion. If this is true, you fool, why are you even thinking about food? You're on a spiritual journey. Just sit there and I'll come to you anyway. So he sat there the first day, the second day, the third day. On the seventh day, he had no power or strength to continue meditating. A yogi was passing by and he heard the groaning. So he approached the man and asked him, what happened to you? Why are you like this? The man said, Yogi, please tell me this is a divine message. I went by it and I became like this. Look at this fox. Its legs are severed, but it is well fed. Every day, this lion brings food to the fox to eat. Please tell me this is a divine message. The yogi said, yes, this is a divine message. But why did you choose to imitate a crippled fox rather than a generous lion? This story resonated with me because not everyone wants to be a generous lion. Who knows what that lion had to encounter to provide that piece of meat to that crippled fox? You might ask, why even bother helping that crippled fox? But it is necessary for us all to imitate a generous lion for our own well-being. The power of reciprocity is real. Acknowledging and embracing our greatness is crucial in adding value. Anxiety and responsibility can be extremely uncomfortable, but stepping out of that comfort is required for us to grow, to change, and to become the generous lions we need to be. I saw a lot of similarities with a lake and a crippled fox, and a river and a generous lion. A lake is still, calm, and peaceful, but it creates stagnation that sometimes create diseases that festers. A river is forever moving, flowing, kinetic, and changing the landscape while bringing others along for the ride. I want to be completely honest. I am afraid that I'll let my team down at work. I'm afraid I'll let my colleagues at Wellington Toastmasters down. I'm afraid I'll let my family down. But I embrace the fear anyway, because it is our destiny to become more than we are. It is our obligation to become generous lions sometime in our lifetime. If we forfeit our responsibility and do what's easiest, then all that will remain will be crippled foxes waiting for their demise. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dr. Cripple Fox. Great. His body language was really awesome. That was a great speech. Thank you. Now we're moving on to our second speaker. That will be evaluator Toastmaster Sonia Garate. Please give us the project plan for Toastmaster Jan Green.
Certainly, Toastmaster of the day. The purpose of High On Speech tonight is to practice the skills needed to effectively use public relations for a group or situation. The length is 5 to 7 minutes, and the project includes creating a public relations strategy. Toastmaster of the day.
Sonia. Speech title, Conflict Resolution. Conflicts are inevitable. How do we successfully handle conflicts? What is the best way in any given situation? Young Green will share what she learned from her mistakes and from successful examples. So that's Young Green.
Once upon a time, in a small town, small fishing village in a faraway land, Japan, there lived an old Japanese lady. She was really poor, very poor. And every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, she would have a small bowl of rice with pickled vegetables. That was what she subsisted on. There's a neighbor right next door to her, and this neighbor is a fisherman. After he sold his fish, at the end of the day, he would bring the leftover fish, and sometimes he would grill that leftover fish in his yard. When that happens, guess what this old lady does? She will bring out her bowl, rice bowl, and she will take a chopstick, take a bite of that rice and go smell the fish, and take another bite, smell the fish. Wasn't it sad? The fisherman heard about this. He decided to do something about it. And one day he took the time to pay a visit to the old lady. Old lady opened the door, the sliding paper door, and said, "Yes, please." And the fisherman very rudely gave a piece of paper to the old lady. She said politely, "What is this, please?" The fisherman said, "I heard that you were smelling my fish whenever I grilled it in my yard. So here is the bill for smelling my fish." Old lady said, "Wait a minute, please." She went to the corner of the room, took out something small, took it out, and shook it to the ear of the fisherman. And the fisherman said, "What is this?" The old lady said, "You charged me for the smell of the fish that I enjoyed, so I am paying you with the sound of the coins that I have." My question to you, what would you have done if you were, not the fisherman, of course, if you were the old lady? Do you think the old lady handled the conflict well? What do you think? Let me call on our guest, Robert. Would you have done the same thing as the old lady did? What do you think? If you were living at that time in Japan, do you think that was a good strategy? Do you think you can use this strategy in our public relations? Let's focus on them here and now. We have a lot of conflicts, and the conflict resolution is a foundation almost in any public relations. Think about your workplace, co-worker. It happened to me. I'm talking from my own experience. A co-worker was spreading vicious rumors, gossip about me. What should I have done? And in case of, let's say, Shastri, your wife wants a dog, you don't want a dog. What will be your conflict resolution? You compromise and get a dog.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
That's an easy
Easy decision.
conflict resolution. But there are many other incidents. Yes, let's talk about the neighbor issues. Again, it happened to me also. I wished that I knew how to handle that conflict when I think about it, actually. There are 10 neighbors on my street. Our street needed new top paving or gypsum, whatever you call it. So I took the initiative of collecting the money from the neighbors, got the contractor and come and do the road again, the street again. One of the neighbors was again spreading the false accusation that I was taking a lot of the money. That could have been easily remedied if I knew how to handle conflict. I didn't at that time. I just let it go. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I really don't have a magic formula about conflict resolution. I don't. So what we can do, all of us, we can read books, we can take classes, we can discuss things with our wise friends. But here is one thing I want to suggest. When you think you are in a heated moment and conflict is rising, think about that old Japanese lady and calm yourself, take a deep breath and tackle that conflict. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Young. Simple ways of handling conflicts. Many times I don't ever, I tend not to handle it and be silent because I am not the talkative one, but those were definitely some simple ways how we can handle some conflicts. Our third speaker, okay. Toastmaster Mayana Hammond, please give us the project for our third speaker, Ray Melendez.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I have the distinct pleasure of evaluating Ray Melendez. His goals today are to express more gestures during his presentation. He's also looking to improve his vocal variety and practice in front of a live audience. Ray is on a manual path today, so we will turn the call over to Ray. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mayana. Ray's speech today is fighting for what you truly want. Yes. Ray will be speaking about how an experience and lessons he went through at a young age. He will be sharing the lessons it taught him and how we can apply it in our own lives. Toastmaster Ray Melendez.
You need to teach me what you, no, you need to teach me what you did. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters. When I was between the age 5 and 7, my family had moved at the time from New York down to Puerto Rico. When I first moved down to Puerto Rico, I didn't know any Spanish at all. So I would hang out in the streets all by myself, alone. My mom at the time was concerned. She was concerned because I was hanging out by myself, and she was concerned that she wanted me to occupy myself. So what did she do? She put me into the YMCA. Young Men's Christian Association. YMCA, yes. I think now they call it the Y. So I would go to the Y every day, but I would stick to myself all the time. Why? Because at the time I did not know any Spanish. I did this day after day when I was going over there until a group of kids started to call me over. What I realized is just that one of these kids, his name was Joey, I still remember, he was making comments about me at the time. And everybody was laughing. This would happen day after day, until one day I was asked to participate in boxing. Now, at this age, I knew nothing about boxing. And I did not understand either what the coach was telling me, instructions. But what I sort of understood was you cannot hit the other opponent in the face. So that's how I took it. When Joey and I were now face to face, I just stood there. Joey hit me in the face like 5 times on there. Which had his boxing gloves, so it wasn't that bad, but I had the coach came up and said, and raised Joey's hand, and I went back. It's my face all red. I actually, that day, was leaving the Y, and I was crying. I had a cut in my face as well. As I'm approaching my mom's car, my mom comes and says to me from inside the car, she says, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "Well, Joey hit me in the face during boxing." She asked me then, "And what did you do?" I said, "Nothing." Now, my mom has a strong character herself. At her current age, she will still yell at me in front of anybody. She's in her 70s, God bless her, and my kids are afraid of her. So she came and looked at me straight in the eye and said to me, "I better not hear you. I better not see you let somebody hit you in the face like that again and not do anything." She then told me, "Do you want me to handle this?" And I said, "No, mommy, no, it's okay." I was worried that she'd be following me this whole time as a bodyguard on there. So a few days later, probably a week or so, I was back at the Y. Well, I was going daily, but we had the chance to box again as a kid. This time I understood the rules. Someone was able to tell me. The first one to get hit in the face twice automatically lose, or the opponent wins. So I started to box with Joey. I had the luxury of boxing with Joey. So we started to box until the coach came up to us and said, "Joey, did this kid do this to your face?" And Joey said, "Yes." And then the coach said, "He won." Now, again, at this time, I did not know any Spanish, but I sure did understand what the coach said that day. So after this, I was actually I earned a little bit of respect. People actually were my friends at this age, lose and win friends at that time. Now, what's my point with this story? It's not to teach your kids, if you have kids, to get into fights or to start boxing on there. It's actually, at the time, I was real happy that I won the fight, but it was actually what I realized years later. That this taught me that in life, you get what you fight for. You've heard me say this before, it's just that we go about and we tend to fall into this comfort zone. And we're not able to find out. We don't know what we're capable of doing until we try to stand out. We only know, we will only get what you tolerate. Recently, I have my niece coming down. She comes down every summer. She's been coming down for the past 5-6 years here. And when we were having dinner recently, her and my daughter, they were both talking about how they don't like speaking in front of public. As a Toastmaster, I have to respond back. I respond back to them. I told them, you're not going to know. You may be awesome speakers, but you're not going to know this unless you try to be the best of yourselves. Do this. It doesn't have to be the topics in class. It could be any topic that you're interested in. You need to make these decisions that'll help you. Henry, oops, I did something here. Henry Ford stated basically, I can get this back. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. We've got to be the best of ourselves. Be the best guy, be the best gal, even if you're already married. Treat your loved one, be the best husband out there, be the best wife. Go for that business opportunity that's out there. Go for that career change that you've been dreaming of. You know, follow that passion that you already have, that you love on there. We need to make this final decision. Life will give us, once again, what we fight for. Madam Toastmaster.
Hey, Ray.
You all the time?
I didn't see the timer.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
time was there.
I
Oh,
saw-
you get what you fight for, so definitely it is. It's all along with why you are a Toastmaster. So why you're a Toastmaster is all along with the same team that Ray presented this evening. May I have the timer's report?
Yes, Toastmaster of the day. All speakers were within time.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Now we will move on to our second part of the meeting. I call it the fun part. Table topics. Our guest, Robert, would you like to participate in table topics? Yes, no, maybe? Okay. I didn't get a response, so
I think you put an X.
you put an X? Oh, okay, thank you, got it. Okay, table topics is the opportunity for members to develop their extemporaneous speaking skills. This is impromptu speaking, so I will now turn the meeting over to our topic master, Toastmaster Susanna Tolodar.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. The topic reflects the theme of the meeting. Today, the theme for the table topic is why Toastmasters. Speech time frame is 1 to 2 minutes. The topic will be repeated 2 times. It's time to get super present and focused now, as I will be calling on you after I have stated the topic. Timer, can you please show the signal?
Toastmaster Shay, could you please show us the timing signals for the table topics?
Yes. Excuse me. Just repeat the time frame again for me, please.
1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, you will see the green signal. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, you will see the yellow. And at 2 minutes, you will see the red.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shay. So tonight we are going to do a little differently to be, to align with the theme. I would be opening a sentence, and I would like you to complete that sentence. So Toastmaster, first I have to say this is the second time I'm doing it, bear with me. So my first sentence, I keep coming back here on Monday nights because. I keep coming back here on Monday night because. Toastmaster Gary Newport.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susanna. Good evening, all my fellow Toastmasters, dignitary, and our guest. If you have a look around on your screen, you'll see why I keep coming back here every Monday night. It's to connect with all my wonderful fellow Toastmasters that are all on the same journey together, on this journey of improving ourselves, developing our leadership and our communication skills. As Toastmaster Ray said, you get what you fight for. So I'm here to fight for myself and for my future. And to help all of you along that journey. It is a wonderful privilege to be able to be at Toastmasters and be a member of such a wonderful group of people that are all on a common journey together to improve ourselves and make this world a better place. Thank you all for joining me on this journey. So back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gary. My favorite part of Toastmaster is Toastmaster Michelin Gonzalez.
Table Topics Master. My favorite part of this evening and all the evenings that have been here is table topics. I may act as though I'm rather loquacious, but actually I'm not. The way that I behave at home with my husband is totally opposite to how I behave in Toastmasters. I'm rather frivolous. I'm gay, meaning happy. I am strong. I am vocal. I have ideas. What better place to be on a Monday evening than Toastmasters? Whether I am on Zoom, whether I'm in person, I am the same. I am the same. My cadence, my rhythm, my effectiveness. I believe that Toastmasters is the only place that makes my Monday schedule. Everything comes after. My favorite is when they call on me for table topics. My heart starts to beat like a drum is in my head, is in my ears, but nevertheless, that shot of adrenaline that gets me when my name is called, I just explode in words and I start speaking. My husband in the living room might be wondering, what on earth is happening with his wife? Why is she talking so much? She normally just sits and lulls with me every evening. All of a sudden on Monday, I became alive. I became somebody else. I have this other sobriquet. I'm Michelle, the talkative, the loquacious, the garrulous, the voluble. Toastmaster of the Day, I do love table topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michelle. Glad I called on you. The next one. If I were to change one thing about Toastmaster, that would be. If I were to change one thing about Toastmaster, that would be Toastmaster Shay Greaves.
In this moment, I need some support, someone to be the timer as I reset. Who will that be? So I know who to pin. Okay, so okay, thank you. If there's one thing that I would change about Toastmasters, what would it be? I love this question. Thank you, Toastmaster Sujana, for appointing me to answer this. I am one that loves reimagining what already exists. And one thing that I would love to see is trips to other clubs or club sisters, so like a brother sister club kind of thing, where we got to just, I don't know, go on adventures together, but also experience the quality of their club and the quality of their speeches and their atmosphere, and also share ours. I think it's so cool when I get to attend contests or trainings and I get to see the different styles and level of background and exposure all these different Toastmasters have. But I also really value when I get to see how much our club is so special and what we have to contribute because I get to experience something else. So I appreciate the both of that. And I guess I would change that to be a normative culture, because I think it's an opportunity that some explore, but I don't think it's as normative as it should be. Thank you, Toastmaster Sujana.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shay. Do we have time for one more?
No.
Yes?
No,
No more.
No more? Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sujana. May I have the timer's report, please?
Yes, all speakers were within time.
Thank you so much. Before we
with-
move on, please give the speaker feedback. The speakers we've had, the formal speakers, formal speeches, and the Toastmasters that did the table topics as well. Thank you. Now we are moving on to the final part of the meeting, and that is instant feedback, evaluation on the formal speeches. I will now call on Toastmaster Mark Kessler to set up the evaluation session.
Good evening, Toastmasters. I will try not to be too loquacious this evening or during my information that I share with you. Coming up will be introducing speech evaluator Shastri Stewart. Please welcome Toastmaster Stacy Kessler.
You are muted, Stacy.
Never loquacious, Shastri Stewart uses all of his words directly and with purpose. Shastri, excellent job this evening. Your storytelling abilities will start with, as you've asked in your story, you shared with us an extremely impacting story. You shared an opening that was powerful from the very beginning. You grabbed our attention to want to listen to you. As always, Shastri, you are inspiring and well received. I witnessed the eye contact on this platform, Zoom, and enjoyed every moment of the smiles and the listenings of others. You also did an excellent job in executing your story. And some of the things that you had brought to our attention that had us feel a certain way was the meditation in the forest and the spiritual growth of what's possible as we meditate in nature. You spoke about the generous lion, and you had stories that you shared that you brought back to the power of reciprocity is real. You know, that's one of my favorite words, reciprocity. So that one really stuck with my heart. And how anxiety and responsibility can be extremely uncomfortable. Who agrees with that here? Put your thumbs up and say anxiety and responsibility can be extremely uncomfortable. Your authenticity in sharing what your fears were and telling us that you were afraid of these certain aspects in your life and how you embraced it anyway brought together the story. If I may make some suggestions, they would be beginning the speech, knowing that you've spoken to the ohms, maybe come up with the beginning of bringing us to that ohm, having an understanding of what the meaning was. The enunciation of ohm was not exactly pronounced the same way we utilize Om in practice. So if you were to utilize the way that you stated Om, possibly at the beginning, show us the correct way of stating Om, and maybe sharing with us the meaning of Om briefly, very briefly, but that had a lot to do with what was happening, and that has a lot to do with on how we do connect with the world and the universe, and being in the forest in Mother Nature as well. The other thing I may suggest is beings that were live in meeting is having possibly a microphone so we could hear the people that are live, such as Shastri, as you are the speaker. So possibly connecting a microphone to your either lapel mic or a microphone where there's one stationary place in the meeting hall that whomever is speaking, we can hear that person. It is our destiny to become who we are. That was a infamous statement and it was perfectly executed when you shared with us that it is our destiny to become our truth in who we are, as the generous lion may share that impact. The other thing that I really loved about your speech was your eye contact. You were clear with how you spoke. And of course, as always, we always can feel the vibration of the words that you share with us through your authentic words. Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, Shashri Stewart, and back to you, our general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stacy Kessler. That was a extremely well-detailed evaluation. Appreciate all of your reflection for Shastri Stewart. Next up, evaluating Hyun Green, please welcome Toastmaster Sonia Grate.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark. And Toastmaster Hyun, it is my pleasure to evaluate you this evening. It feels like it's been such a long time that I've heard you speak at least. So because you are such an accomplished speaker, I'm going to be very detailed in my evaluation tonight, which I believe is something that you would appreciate. So what you did beautifully tonight was you started with a classic line which told us a story was coming, once upon a time. We knew what was coming after that. And you shared a beautiful story with us. I loved how you brought along tonight your props. So you had chopsticks, you flashed some paper, and you had a tin of coins so that your story felt engaging and you pulled us in with your visual cues as you spoke. Also, I would like to commend you that as you were speaking, you tried to incorporate and include our guest impromptu on the spur of the moment, and it didn't work out as you may have planned, but you carried on with a smooth transition, completely tranquil. And I observed that. And I think for us who are not as comfortable on stage, you're an example of how to tackle any discomfort and move on so it's not even noticed. A few things that I would like to point out for you that could be improved next time that you give this speech. We didn't hear an opening or a greeting to the audience as you began speaking. So usually you start with a story and then at some point you would say, "Good evening, Toastmasters," and greet the audience. Tonight, we didn't hear that. And also, Hyun, I'd like to recommend a stronger close because this story was impactful and really stuck in my head. I didn't expect at all the response of the coins. So I loved it, but then I wanted a stronger close to tie it up and to crystallize your point. So for example, what you could have done was to give an example where your conflict resolution was successful, or maybe not. Or maybe what I was looking for was to interpret the old lady's response. So when she shook the coins, what did that mean to you? Was that a positive way? Was that passive aggressive? Was that what you were recommending for us to do? So that would have been a great way to close the speech out. But in general, Hyun, what I really love to watch is you are so engaging when you speak and your comfort level on stage is obvious. And that helps us to receive your speech, relax into it and take it with us, because you present it with such calm and confidence. And I really enjoyed evaluating you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia Grate. Really do appreciate the way that you detailed out fine information for Hyun Green and a wonderful Oreo cookie effect that really displayed great notations for Miss Hyun to move forward and to detail her speech on her next venture. Next, coming up, evaluating Sir Ray Melendez. Please welcome Toastmaster Mayana Hammond.
Yes, sir.
Well, Ray, it was absolutely a pleasure evaluating you this evening, fighting for what you really want. This could have gone in several different directions, but I love the direction that you took your speech tonight, telling us to be the best versions of ourselves, following our passion, fighting for what you really want in life, and telling us that you get what you tolerate. I really had to think about that quite a few times. You get what you tolerate. How many times have we tolerated behaviors, communications in life, and then suddenly we think about it, I don't have to tolerate this. I'm gonna make some changes. Your speech was engaging and you were successful in drawing your audience in. For example, sharing your personal story about moving to Puerto Rico and not knowing how to speak Spanish and your mom enrolling you in the YMCA, that really drew us into your speech tonight. Your goal of improving your vocal variety, using gestures and speaking in front of a live audience was definitely met. When your mom inquired about, why are you crying? In a strong voice, and your response using a meek, soft voice as a child really showed the vocal variety that I was looking for. Some of the improvements that could be made is I felt like your vocal variety dropped off partway through and you transitioned back to your voice, Ray. So I would really like to see you use that vocal variety all the way through your speech. The other thing that I would have loved to see you do when you were talking about the YMCA is do the YMCA gestures. I was looking for you to do that. And so that would have been really nice and fun to see. However, I thought your entire speech was very well executed. I really liked the talking points you left us with about following your passion and talking to your niece this week. And overall, I think you did a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mayana Hammond. Excellent job with your evaluation. I believe this is your first evaluation and you nailed it, lady. Great job. May we have a timer's report on the speech evaluations?
Yes, Toastmaster Mark. All speakers were within time.
Excellent. May at this time, can we call on the best evaluator?
Yes, we can begin. Well, actually, we haven't voted for our speakers yet.
Yeah, can you launch the votes, please? It should be all configured.
Yeah, so they're ready. Sonia, are you able to? I made you co-host. Thank you.
The speaking poll has been launched, closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now the evaluation polls. Actually, do we have our table topics ready or not yet?
Yeah, it should be ready.
Okay. Launching table topics now. Closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ending poll. And lastly, evaluation poll. Closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Polling is complete.
Excellent job, Miss Sonia Garate. May we have the grammarians report, please?
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark Kessler. Fellow Toastmasters, the word loquacious was used a total of 3 times. Thank you so much. Misuse of language. My thing I want to suggest may have gone this way. Here is what I would like to suggest, or I would like to suggest. And secondly, where we got to should have been where we have the opportunity to. This evening, we were full of notable phrases. I have a total of 13. If I have time, I will read all. It is our destiny to become who we are. I heard the power of reciprocity is real. Stagnation that creates disease. A river is kinetic. Embrace the fear. Love the word use and the comparisons. She subsisted on. Once upon a time. Distinct pleasure. Whether you believe you can or can't, you are right. Life will give us what we fight for. Normative culture. Enunciate. Crystallized your point. Be the best version of yourselves. You get what you tolerate. That brings me to the end of my grammarian report. Toastmaster Gary.
Excellent job, Ms. Grammarian. And next, Toastmaster Gary Newper, can you give me the AHA report, please?
General evaluator. The total number of fillers used by the club this evening was 10. I think we did a fantastic job this evening.
Yeah.
The most commonly used filler word this evening was I didn't count all of Shastri's else we might have had double that number.
Yes. That's funny.
I do also want to bring to our attention that although we have gotten better with the there were a lot of double starts this evening. So just so everyone's aware of that. The following Toastmasters did not use any filler words during the meeting. Toastmaster Sonia, Toastmaster Hion, Toastmaster Michelle, and Toastmaster Mark. That concludes my R Counters report. General Evaluator.
Toastmaster Newper, excellent job. As far as the speech introductions, including the names of the manuals, the project names and project objectives, timing criteria, and speech titles were well executed this evening. I'd like to say that the meeting did stay on time and start. Our guest, Robert Ortiz, though may he not be here with us at this moment, was well welcomed. Our dignitaries were acknowledged. Thank you, Hion Green, for always showing up and being a part of this program. Toastmaster of the Day did an amazing job at leading applause into the group session, as well as her ability to explain the meeting rules were all taken care of as well. That pause was within myself. I did not have a video breakdown. I'd also like to say that the transitions were extremely smooth today, other than my own, as well as the fact that all the Toastmasters, as far as our Toastmaster today, wonderful job, Miss Micheline. You did an amazing job as far as the transitions, listening to what was going on in the programs today. Awesome job, as always. We can always count on everything you do and provide. The table topics, excellent theme that was stated. Topics were appropriate for the obvious evening tonight for Toastmasters. It was all about Toastmasters. And all of the roles of the meeting were done in great execution. A few things I'd like to add would be that for the hybrid type meetings that we are introducing at this time, that all of the attendees on the Zoom platform, please state your names in your subtitle below your screen, as well as your role. It would be great if someone could hold up a flag during the, obviously the Pledge of Allegiance, and also as well as there was some glitches with the freezing of frames. So there was at point in times that the Zoom members, I'm presuming, we could not hear what was going on at the physical location. Other than that, would be awesome if we could have microphones situated for the speakers at the physical locations. It might create a clarity for us all to respond to in our own Zoom platforms. Hopefully soon we'll all be showing up at the physical location and put Zoom aside for a while, other than for necessities. Other than that, I'd like to say that this has been a great meeting, and I'd like to turn over the meeting to, let's see here, table topics, speech evaluation. The evaluators did a great feedback tonight, well executed, everything went well. Next time, I think that the flow of where we were setting up with our evaluators might be tweaked just a small amount, but other than that, everything was great. All in all, we had amazing evaluators tonight. Mayana, having your first time out on the SKU, you were right on target. Wonderful job. I don't see any of that fear fright that's showing up for you. You are a full-fledged Toastmaster here on all levels. And with that, that ends my general timers report here, general evaluators report. I'd like to turn this thing back over to our Toastmaster of the day, Micheline. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark. You never fail us. You always make us laugh every time you show up. So thank you for that. Even though you weren't intentionally trying to do it, but you made us laugh. Toastmasters was a wonderful evening. I'm happy I was hosting and your Toastmaster of the day, but I thank you for your participation and give us your results. Please demonstrate the winners this evening.
Certainly. So our first place speaker tonight, drum roll please, is Toastmaster Shastri Stewart. Yay! For table topics, our first place winner tonight is Toastmaster Michelle Gonzalez. Congratulations. And for evaluations tonight, our first place winner is yours truly, Toastmaster Sonia. Yay! That completes the results.
Very nice. Thank you. You all look forward to your email, your winning ribbons. How many people are noticing you're getting those ribbons? Are you seeing them?
Yes.
Okay. It's been months now. Okay, just checking. Well, I now will pass the meeting over to our president, Toastmaster Shastri Stewart.
Yay!
Winner.
Awesome job to Micheline. Great job as always. Thank you so much for supporting the club. You did an awesome job leading us tonight. I'll be very brief because I have 1 minute, 8:04, so we'd like to be timely. But I do have a few announcements. Next week we're supposed to have an evaluation trial contest, kind of, but we're really reevaluating that because we really want to focus on our nominations for our new officer roles. We have a very, very strong team that's coming in, that's being nominated, and I'm very excited to present them to you next week. So hopefully everyone on the Zoom platform will join us next week to be part of that celebration. Lastly, please, if you can, if you're able to, join us at the physical location. Would love to be able to give you a hug and see your beautiful faces and really interact and connect with you, because it's a different type of energy. And Michelle is an exception because she always has the same type of energy. But whenever you're here at the physical location, it's a different type of energy, and you get that practice, that physical practice that we all need. So thank you so much for being part of the Wellington Toastmasters Club. And my speech was really about encouraging the newer members to take on roles and support the club, because all these beautiful things that's happening cannot happen from just a few people. It has to take a team to bring us to the next level. So I'm really looking forward to that from you. All right, that's all. If there's nothing else, I conclude and adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
All right.
Night, all. Bye, Hyon. Good to see you.
Before you guys all go,
Great job tonight.
make sure that you're paying attention to the WhatsApp. I'll drop an announcement there since we've already dismissed. See you later.
Shay, can you press the stop record?